You're listening to the Art LeBeau Connection. Coming up, we've got a shout out from dedication from Little Baby Dreamer to Big Daddy Pachuco in Pacoima.
That sounds like
in California City, and she says, "Daddy, we're waiting for you to come home. We missed you. Big kiss." Yeah. And here's Angel Baby.
Yep. That sounds like a traditional Art LeBeau dedication.
It's an oldie but a goodie.
Did you guys ever go to any of his concerts or any of his shows?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we went to one at Fantasy Springs Casino.
Sick.
I don't know, 10 or more years ago. And that was like Zap, GQ, Brenton Woods, and all the same kind of guys that's always at his shows, you know. Yeah. Zap was the best, though.
I love Zap.
Yeah.
No, Zap is sick. Yeah. Zap is dope. I've seen Zap perform at the Art LeBeau shows. But the coolest version of their performances I've seen has been on the cruises that I've gotten to film recently. Those, and I mean, like, it's just a way different vibe, dude. Yeah. And I think it's because it's so enclosed that, like, when I'm on stage and I'm filming them and I'm like holding my gimbal and all that, like, I feel the bass.
Yeah.
And I don't just feel the bass, but I could feel the vibe of the crowd.
I love that.
Those guys are dancing and just taking the moves.
The guy gets like the Superman outfit on, and
man, it's insane. Insane.
Yeah, I know, because those like showcase shows, like they only get like a 30-40 minute set or something, and so it's like they just go through it. We saw them randomly at like a baseball diamond.
Yeah, it was City. Like a diabetes awareness.
Yeah, it was some kind of benefit show, and there was like no marketing for the event at all. Like we just heard it on the radio the day of.
Yeah.
And we're like, all right, let's go see Zap. Like,
and then, and they're like, we're giving out free tickets. And then, so I was like, I called or like I messaged, I don't know, I left a comment, I think, on like Instagram. And I was like, oh, I want to see it. And they're like, all right, come pick up your tickets.
Here you go.
That's sick.
And that was like a 2-hour show or something. That was
fucking dope.
It was awesome. You know, they played every song. And too, it's like, you know, more bounce to the ounce. They play it for like 15 minutes, you know. It was going. Yeah. And after that one ended too, we talked to is it Lester or Larry Troutman from the band?
Yeah,
who was Roger's cousin, you know. And we were just like, all right, yeah, what's up? And I got a picture with him still. We'll throw it up in post. But then we're like, yeah, we're getting married. Like, you guys do weddings and stuff? He's like, yeah, totally. So I called him up. He gave us like his cell phone number, and I called him up, and he was like, yeah, it's $25,000 to play our wedding. And you got to pay to fly us out, and you got to feed us, and you got to pay for all the stage stuff and everything too.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
And they were playing a tape as well.
Oh, sounds about right.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like watching the guy play guitar, and it's like just doing that. And it's like I play guitar, and it's like Roger's stuff is like,
it's funky.
It's super complex. Yeah.
No, it's they but I mean they're a killer performance, dude.
It's like, the best.
It's crazy. Like
it's
I said,
a show.
The craziest show I've ever seen them do was an Art LeBeau show, but when they did them at the Vor.
Yeah.
Those were like when Art would do the shows there, because I used to work at 99.1. So there was a greater part of my life that I would have to go to those shows for work.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things I'd love to see is when they would be on there. It's funny because there's still YouTube videos of from those performances, and on there there's a one where, and I always make fun of D Dizzle. There's one where he's on stage and he introduces Zap, and as he's walking back, he's not paying attention, and there's like a cord right in front of him, and he like trips and almost falls. So every now and then when I find the video, I'll send it to him. Like, remember this?
Damn, never let it live down.
No,
never.
All right, guys. Well, I just want to do a proper introduction. Welcome to the Most Deaf Podcast.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, what up, yo?
This is a special episode. We got a special guest, Tomas.
Hello, everybody.
Tell them who you are.
Well, Tomas, you can call me Tommy. Working on trying to become an up-and-coming filmmaker. I just say trying because there's still a lot I'm learning, and there's a lot that I'm working on to get up there. But I do have a project coming that right now seems like it's going to be taking off soon. Just got to work out a couple more things. That's the Lighter Shade of Brown documentary.
Woo!
You know,
Ciao.
So there's that. I got like I was telling them, I have a background in radio. I spent 8 years working at 99.1, from the street team promotion squad to running the web department. You know, there. So got a unique background in history.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, let's jump into the history then. Where did you grow up?
Paris.
Yeah, hey, Paris.
So I was born in Riverside, and then like at 1, my parents decided to move to a random place called Pasco, Washington.
Wow.
Yeah,
That is super random.
It's like random. It's just like a small random town that's in an area called the Tri-Cities, because it's like it's 3 cities that are separated by one river, by like a river like crossing or whatever you want to call it, and it's Pasco, Richland, and then one called Kennewick, and yeah, I grew up in Pasco, which was majority like super hardcore like Mexican culture there. Like most of the people who lived there came from like old towns of Mexico.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
What part of Washington is that? Like Eastern Washington, Western Washington?
Lower Eastern.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's like an hour outside of Oregon border.
Yeah.
You know,
People don't realize that like Washington is like 2 states, like
Yeah.
Eastern Washington is completely different than Western Washington and like
Yeah.
Seattle and all that.
Yeah, because this one's like more inland, like because you're an hour from Oregon and you're 3 hours from Idaho.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's crazy, but it's a nice little town. My sisters live up there now. When they graduated high school, one of them wanted to go live up there, so she moved up there, and then my younger sister moved up there, and my mom actually just left this weekend to go spend Thanksgiving with them.
Yeah.
All right, on.
So, but after that, we moved back down here. My parents went through separation, and we moved back down here with my mom, and just grew up in Paris.
Yeah.
I've been in Paris. I remember the first year we moved here, it was the year of the 92 earthquakes.
Oh, iconic.
Yeah, right? So, like, I get introduced to hip hop and earthquakes.
Hey, that's what's up.
Yeah, that's when I first meet Tupac, and it was I Get Around.
Yeah.
Because I remember
Digital Underground.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the song that I was like, I was like, who is this? I was like, you don't know Tupac?
Yeah.
Like, oh, sit down right here and let's watch this.
Because
And it was-
Tupac was a backup dancer.
Yeah, he was one of the backup dancers for Digital Underground, and then he obviously made it on his own.
Yeah.
And we all know his story.
Yeah. I wonder how he got that first song with them, though, like.
I believe it was that because I saw a documentary, but there's a few different documentaries, but there was one that I think he just happened to like be in the studio with them.
Yeah.
And just got into it. I think there's a little more to it, but I think that's what it was. He just happened to be in there.
He just happened to be the right place, right time. Or
Yeah.
probably, they're on tour and stuff, and maybe he was like, yeah, I can rap too, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Because I know, like, and I've seen like Tupac Resurrection and then like Thug Angel parts 1 and 2, and those are both totally different documentaries about Tupac. Yeah.
Hey, by the way, Tommy, believe it or not, I know Casey looks just like a white guy, but he has the what would you call it, Case?
I'm a real rap cat.
Yeah.
Pop head, real rap cat.
Pop head?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you talk like MF Doom, stuff like that.
Stuff like that, but I'm really okay. So I grew up in San Luis Obispo.
Okay.
So it was all Bay Area rap when I was growing up. So
Okay.
it was all like Too Short, E40.
Oh, okay.
Mac,
So you got
Mac Dre, Andre Nicotina, Be Legit, all that kind
so
of
let me
stuff.
ask you
RBL
this.
Posse.
Have you seen the movie Freaky Tales?
Not yet, but I know all of it's like Oakland in '84. Right?
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
But you got the movie itself is so dope.
Yeah.
And I love how they use the song Freaky Tales as part of it. So,
Yeah.
but I would suggest, watching it. And then Pedro Pascal is amazing in that movie too. You
Yeah.
know?
The guy's in everything right now.
Right?
Yeah.
Like literally. But that's dope. So Bay Area.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do
San
you know
Luis Obispo is like not even in the Bay Area.
Uh-huh.
It's like right in between LA and San Francisco.
I worked with somebody at 99.1 who came from that same area.
But yeah, so and then I moved to the desert to like, looking to Indio, Palm Springs kind of area when I was like 17. And then I just started listening to like old school slow jams and stuff like that.
You listen to Jammin' 99.5.
95. Yeah.
There was the other station out there, 92.7, I think
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that was, so at 99.1, there was a couple DJs who left there to go to that station. Not because there was anything wrong. They just, they were so good, they got picked up by those stations.
Yeah.
And 92.7 was one of them. There was a guy, Ant Dog.
Yeah.
I met him like once or twice. Cool ass dude. Really
Yeah.
cool dude. PD over there for a while. But that's cool, man. So
how'd you get into radio?
random ass story, I'll tell you this. So I was working at a movie theater, and the movie theater, we did a premiere with 99.1 for, it was a Tim Allen movie, Wag the Dog, I think it was.
Yeah, yeah.
We did a premiere. I met one of the DJs there. I kind of became friends with him, but I didn't really get in until a friend of mine who was also working at the movie theater with me, his name was Travis.
Mhm.
Like, like corniest looking little white boy that when he told me he was getting a job at 991, I was like, yo, that's crazy. Like, you're getting a job at 991? Like, they hire you? Like, I think it'd be like, you don't look like
hiring you, then I'm a shoo-in.
Yeah, like, I mean, not to disrespect, because Travis ultimately was a cool dude. Like, he really had a cool vibe.
Shout out Travis.
Yeah. But when I first met him, I'm like, think of like his personality at first for me was like Ernest from Ernest Goes to Jail.
Yeah.
But not.
Know what I mean, Vern?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like really, just really nice guy.
Yeah.
You know, smart, cool dude. He was in the Navy. He left to go to the Navy and all that. So he's doing a lot better, or not all, but he's doing really good in life right now.
Yeah.
But, anyways, he got the job, and then he introduced me to the guy that would become my mentor there, which was Mike Medina.
Yeah.
And Mike Medina and I, we became friends. I had lost my job at the movie theater, and I told him about that, and I got a little bit frustrated with life and all that, and he was kind of like, well, hey, you said you were mad about it. You didn't like that job anyway, so it's just a blessing in disguise. He goes, tell you what, come inside and help me out. He goes, I might be able to help you get a job, but it's not a guarantee.
Yeah.
And it took about 3.5 months, but I was able to get hired into the radio station on the street team, you know.
For sure.
And that just pretty much started an 8-year run of different experiences. I mean, I got to see Wyclef perform, If I Was President, acoustic style, you know, for in front of a small room of like 30 people. That was fun. Akon hung out with us for like 6 hours at the radio station. He brought Jamaican food too, so we can just eat. Like, that was cool.
Yeah.
And that's actually being at the radio station is where I met ODM.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in like the first year, we didn't like really talk much. It was like more like the second year, and we did a few events together that we kind of really connected and, you know, became friends. At one point, I ended up becoming one of his roommates.
Yeah.
You know, so there was that.
So let's talk about your movie a little bit, your documentary that you're working on and that you've been working on for some time, right?
Yeah.
How long has this project been going for you?
So I'll tell you, originally the project started as a project for a film class I was doing in college. I was a student at the Art Institute. It was right here in San Bernardino at that time. And I had a film class, and we had to write a 5-minute project on any subject. And well, I just happened to be friends with ODM. So I was like, hey, well, let me do something on you for 5 minutes. And he was like, all right, cool. AI allowed us to rent these little flip cams. Excuse me. Oh my gosh, the water.
Yeah.
So I rented like 2, set them up like like an interview cam type thing, try to make it look professional. And we filmed something for 5 minutes. I produced it, turned it in. The teacher loved it. You know, 5 years, or like, this is 2010. And then COVID happens. And in the middle of COVID, I happened to find a hard drive from college. And I saw and that's where I found the project.
Yeah.
And I found the original write-up that I did. And I was like, you know, I think I could really expand on this. And that's pretty much what I did. I spent the whole day. I mean, shit, I wasn't doing anything else anyways, other than fucking laying around, smoking weed, playing video games. Yeah. You know, so
I can relate.
So we did that. So I sat there the whole day listening to the music, finding every single interview that I could find about them. And it just so happened that a few months later, ODM would end up getting let go from the radio station, and then he starts his own podcast. And the first 7 episodes of that podcast are all dedicated to all the former members of the group. And I went through that and started writing more and expanding on it, and got to where it is today.
Yeah. Well, let's circle back a little bit too, because I think we got to explain a little bit more about what the whole project is, because it's about lighter shade of brown. Right?
Yeah. So that's what I should say. So the documentary is a documentary about the group Lighter Shade of Brown, and in this documentary we explore the full history of Lighter Shade of Brown, from its conception to them currently in what's going on today. You know. And how ODM is still keeping the group alive and keeping the name alive by, going out and touring. But essentially, we look at how a gentleman by the name of Cliff Ritchie, who was their manager, takes, Robert, who was trying to go by Little R at that time, and he takes Bobby and puts them together and creates the first Latino hip-hop group on the West Coast. And from there, we are going to explore the story of the journey, what it was like on the road, the different things that went on. We're also going to explore the relationship between Bobby and O, There's been a few people who described it differently. Some have said it's been good. Others have been said it's oil and water.
Mhm.
You know, so we're going to kind of really explore it.
Yeah.
And yeah, just look at the overall, story of their lives,
Yeah.
their impact. You know?
I think it's interesting too because you can kind of, if you're showing the first group and then you can kind of lead into how they paved the way for some of the other groups, like you could say like Into Deep and Kid Frost and Cypress Hill and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Well,
Like,
Kid Frost came before them.
Okay.
Because it would be like in the lineup of Latinos who came in order, it would be Mellow Man Ace, Kid Frost, and then Lighter Shade of Brown.
Okay.
And then you would have Cypress Hill, then you would have like Kelly Lifestyle, and then whatever, like Aztec.
But they're the first group, like
Yeah.
hip hop, Latino hip hop group.
Yeah.
And- yeah.
It would be the first Latino hip hop group on the West Coast. 'Cause I
Right,
believe
yeah.
on the East Coast there was already one existing, but
Yeah. Because New York is really where it all kind of started with like
Yeah.
Cool Herc and stuff like that and Grandmaster Flash and so on and so forth.
exactly.
Africa Bambaataa and all that. Yeah.
Oh man. But so that we're gonna look at all that. We're gonna,
Yeah.
we're gonna look at their story. We're also gonna. Well, one of my goals with this documentary too is to sit down with Bobby's family, talk to them first, and see what kind of what real story they want to tell about Bobby.
Yeah.
I want to make sure it's okay first with them before we really explore Bobby's background, because there is some things that Bobby struggled with
Mhm.
that I have heard. They weren't too happy on how it was discussed, so I want to have that open conversation with them
Yeah.
and figure out like what would be the best way to discuss this,
Mhm.
and then also I want to show people, I want to showcase Bobby's impact by showing them how the second album, how impactful he was in that second album, from the clothing that they wore for the pictures, he concepted all that. He thought of the clothing, he thought of how they were going to stand, he thought of how the album was going to be produced.
Mm.
He helped produce the majority of the album, or at least had a hand in most of the songs. So we're really going to highlight the impacts from them. And even with Teardrop, like I mentioned in the presentation, Teardrop being one of the first Latinas in hip hop on the West Coast again, on record. Before her or when she was around, there was no other Latinas. And I even, like I said, I even called Tony G, as I mentioned earlier, Tony G is like a hip hop historian for the West Coast. And I called him to verify, and he said, yeah, there was no other Latinos on the West Coast. Now, the East Coast there was, again, because hip hop originated from that side.
Yeah.
But on the West Coast, there wasn't any other Latinos. They were on record rapping. And because she's on Latin Active, that makes her the first.
So when does the first Lighter Shade of Brown album come out?
1990.
1990.
Yeah, 1990. And it was actually
which
a
seems
race.
like so late in the game for like the first Latino hip hop group, right?
Yeah, well, see, essentially, they if I remember correctly, they did the first album or the first song in '89, which was TJ Nights.
Mhm.
Then they did a couple other records. I don't remember the name of those, but they didn't go on the album. They were just like records they were putting together to get pushed to get an album.
Yeah.
And then they dropped the album in 1990, which is Brown and Proud. And then they do 91, Hip Hop Locos, and I think 92 is Laying in the Cut.
Okay.
And then after that it's 93, and then they take a break.
Yeah.
And then 97 they drop another album, which I guess was self-titled Lighter Shade of Brown.
Yeah.
And after that they take an indefinite break.
Mm.
Bobby goes on the road, ODM goes into radio and producing on his own, and so on from there.
This happens to so many groups in different genres too,
Yeah.
where it's like groups kind of split up, or because like I just saw RBL Posse in concert,
Yeah.
but there's only one surviving member, and that's Black C,
Yep.
because the other two were murdered.
Yeah.
So then they have another guy standing in, but he still has the rights to the name. Where it's like in the '80s, all the hair metal groups, they all split up, and then there's always like, oh, this is Rat with Stephen Piercy, or this is the real Rat, or this is whatever, like Dawkins and Lynch Mob and stuff like that.
I think there's the same case with is it Sugar Hill? No, not Sugar Hill Gang. There's another group, the group that sings Good Times. What song is that? What group is that?
Yeah, the Sugar Hill Gang.
That is Sugar Hill Gang.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Okay, so because on the cruise, when we were on the cruise, they had Sugar Hill Gang as one of the headliners, and I remember them because while I'm on stage filming him, he's doing this song Celebration, and in the middle of the song he stops to take my gimbal away from me and flip the camera onto me. And I'm like, I'm more worried about him dropping my camera. I'm like, that is an FX3 right there, sir,
Yeah.
on a gimbal that you are holding.
Sir, that's not a cheap camera. There ain't no point in shoot.
Like, you can't just, and I noticed his grip started moving forward. So I was like, yeah, let me grip that off. But yeah, and I have that clip. I remember I posted it on my Facebook. I was like, oh, look, this was a cool moment, but also a very, very stressful moment.
So we were in the Chicano Hollywood Producers Mastermind course together.
Yes.
You know, which was like an 8-week online thing, and then we had the in-person thing a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
So, and you're one of the first people to pitch your idea to investors and distributors and stuff like that. Which big shout out to Johnny and Chicano Hollywood.
Yeah, shout out to Johnny.
There's not a lot of people who are trying to give people that kind of opportunity, and it's not like there was a huge cost barrier to entry to this. Like,
No.
you know, there are people that would charge you thousands and thousands of bucks to have this kind of opportunity. But yeah, like, how did you feel being one of the first people to like go up there and pitch your idea? You know,
Nervous as fuck.
I don't doubt it.
All right.
Yeah,
I hope I
No,
can
you're
cuss.
good.
yeah.
No, but nervous as fuck, dude. Like, seriously, because like during COVID, I struggled with a lot. Personally, I struggled with a lot in life. And I've always envisioned my film career beginning with Light a Shade of Brown's project. I've always told my best friend who does production lighting, he works for a film lighting company, and I've always told him that our projects are going to begin in film with Light a Shade of Brown. And he'd always think I'm crazy. And I'm just like, no, dude, like, watch. You're going to see. Like, it's going to start with Light a Shade of Brown. And then I see it. I envision it, and it's happening. You're going to see. And
Manifesting.
right?
Yeah.
And this is at a time where I didn't really believe in manifesting like that. I'm just like saying it because I'm having these dreams and I'm having these ideas that are just hitting me. And I'm like, dude, like I'm thinking about this for a reason. Like, it's going to happen. Like, even my best friend, and not that he didn't believe it. It just, at first he was kind of like, well, I mean, who would really want to see a story about Light a Shade of Brown? And I'm like, but who wouldn't? Like, who wouldn't? I was like, you got to really pay attention to their story to understand that, you know? And then when I really explained to him the story and like what I wanted to look at, like the biggest thing for him was the fact that they got to work with Selena and do a Coca-Cola commercial in the 90s.
That's awesome.
Yeah, if you go on YouTube, you can actually find it. There's an all Latino Coca-Cola commercial, and Light a Shade of Brown is a part of that.
That's awesome. I had no idea about that. Look at it. We're learning today.
We better link that.
It's really cool to see them in there. And I'm like, I remember asking, did you guys meet Selena? He goes, oh yeah, dude, we met her. Like
Anything for Selena.
they ended up in the same elevator together going up to the set.
Yeah.
And then she was like, are you guys Light a Shade of Brown?
Yeah.
You know? And ODM always tries to do it in like her voice and stuff, all sweet and calm. But it was cool. You know, it's a cool story that I hear from her. But that's also like something that I'm like, yo, this is big. Like, they got to work with Selena.
Yeah.
You know? So I oh man, I forget my point of why I mentioned that.
No, but it's that somebody is asking like, oh, who would want to hear that story? But it doesn't matter, like, because it's like, I want to tell the story is the important thing. Like, you know, it's you have to just, the passion has to carry it through. You know, and you can't worry about what other people are going to think, because it's just like, you have to do what's genuinely in there.
Yeah.
And it's just because this is why we do this stuff, is because I have no other choice. I have to do it. Like, I'm compelled to do it. You know, it's not reason that makes me do it. It's
and no one else is going to be able to tell that story like you, or
That's
the way you
right.
tell it. You know, that's kind of like what I was telling you earlier when I was saying there was a moment in my film career, because I do videography for, you know, different companies like dispensaries and stuff like that. And there was a client that I was working for, then hired a bunch of videographers and kind of like, in a way, try to pit us against each other.
Yeah.
And I remember telling him, like, well, that's not going to work for me, dude. And he's like, why? Aren't you a competitive person? And I'm like, yeah, but here's the thing. I was like, at the end of the day, I'm not going to be able to film like him, and he's not going to be able to shoot like me, and he's not going to be able to be the same settings. I was like, look, he's shooting with Nokia, so he's definitely shooting like shit. He's shooting on a FX7 or FX6, so like, I'm afraid of him.
Yeah.
I got a A7 III. Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, no, this is a ninja right here, and I'm like the Shadow Warriors in the back, like hiding from him. But I was like, get rid of him. Hide the Nokia guy.
Well, it goes to show you too, it's not about I say this all the time. It's not what you make it with; it's what you make with it. Right?
Yeah,
It doesn't
that too.
matter what the gear is. Like there is a threshold. You know, like you can't be doing it all with your phone. But there are some people who can tell a story with their phone. You know, there's some people who may have. This is the thing is like because I come from the guitar world. That's like my family's business, right?
Yeah.
It's like all the most expensive guitars get sold to like dentists and lawyers and like Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank. You know what I mean?
That's about right.
And they can't really play it like that, you know? And it's the guys who have like the Squire that actually have been playing in their room, or like Van Halen, right? Like he made his signature, you know, like the stripy Frankenstein guitar.
Yeah.
That was $150 factory second. Like it was a reject, the body. And he was like, I only had enough money to buy the cheapest body blank. And then I just started to take a router to it and mess with it. And then he like nailed like a quarter in there. And then he did the stripy paint and stuff. Like, you know, it's how you navigate all
Yeah,
that
it's
stuff.
how you push it out there.
Yeah. How resourceful are you?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So it's like you can't ever look at the.
I mean, I still look at no kids like that.
Hey, still, I look at FX6s and Aries and be like, damn, I want one of those, man.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but you're right. You know, because I used to tell my best friend the same thing. I used to be like, dude, it's like if we can show them what we can do with what we have, then we get the money to get to shoot what we want. You know?
Right. Exactly. And I mean, this is why we set up the whole nonprofit, because we see the talent that we have out here in the Inland Empire. And too many times it's just like, oh, you want to do something, you have to go to LA. Like, and I was like, well, what do you mean? Like, why?
Yeah.
You know, it's not like we have equipment, we have people. It's like there's no need, you know, to just trek out there for what? To make other people money? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like, why? Like, and it just starts with supporting each other. You know what I mean?
It's also convenient knowing that there's someone out here that can get you the lighting, you know, if
Yeah.
you need. Like, so having you guys here makes the convenience even more. Like, yeah, you could tell them, like, go ahead, drive to LA. You're going to sit in 2 hours of traffic on the way there, 2 hours of traffic on the way back, when you can spend that 2 hours loading up your shit here,
Yeah.
loading up and unloading here, and then going home and still being home by 5 o'clock.
Yeah, that's right. Have dinner with the fam.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm like, yeah, that's dope.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I got to plug this latest thing that's been happening with our nonprofit too.
Okay.
But Inland Empire Community News, they gave us a great article. So shout out to Manny Sandoval for writing us up right there. Thank you, Manny.
Nice.
So, and that's been really nice to get our first press. Like it's very validating, you know, to get a write up and to
No, that's dope, man.
yeah, not like a work write up. You know?
It's the same feeling I got after I presented that day, dude. Like, I honestly, I got nervous, and one of the things that obviously you guys saw, my computer decided to update.
Yeah, all the computers
Poor
updating.
guy.
But at the end of the day, I feel like I just even though it almost fumbled, like I picked it up and I still ran it with it. You know,
That's right.
And that's what they're going to judge you on is like if you crumble, then they're going to be like, well, this guy's not going to be able to handle a movie shoot, you know?
Yeah, and I felt for a moment I almost lost it. I was like, I had to take a quick deep breath, but
Like, quiero llorar.
right. But it was like because you guys like you guys can tell, like I'm very passionate about this project. So like having that moment to be able to tell people like, hey, yes, I need your money to tell this story, but here's why this story matters.
Mhm.
You know, it's like there's so many things, so many more things I could have said that even afterwards, it's like, damn, I could have said this, or I could have said that. Like one of the things that the person that was, I can't remember who it was, she had asked me about like how it was going to market the film.
Yeah.
Oh, Wendy.
Wendy, the
Yeah.
conscious stuff, like what I thought about the conscious stuff. Well, one of the things that I totally forgot is, you know, in that crowd, there was two people. There was Jason Jacobs and a girl named Carrie. Jason Jacobs and Carrie both, you know, Jason, he's the owner of Concert Cruise Events.
Oh,
And Carrie is also works with him in that company by helping like set up the management of the groups, or she works with the groups. Like she doesn't necessarily do the booking. I think he does the booking, but like when it comes to on the cruise, she manages those groups to make sure they get on time where they need to be.
Yeah.
And on top of that, she manages Lighter Shade of Brown. She helps them book trips, book concerts and all like that. And she does her own little concert venue. So like, I couldn't answer that question in that moment because I was like I said, everything was hitting me. So afterwards, it's like, damn, I forgot I could have said like, well, I might not be able to do it, but I've got Carrie and I've got Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they definitely like afterwards, even Jason called me and was like, yo, he was really impressed. Like, he was
Awesome.
really excited. And he was like, if they don't put money behind it, then maybe we can talk about it, you know?
Yeah. Well, for us, like, we were just really proud to see you go up there. I was like, dang, it takes a lot of nerve, you know what I mean? And not only that, it's like, hey, I'm representing Riverside. It's like representing the IE, and that's what we're all about, you know what I mean?
No, that was cool.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing too, is like, even if this is the power of showing up, right? And that's been our big philosophy, is like everything. Like, we're just trying to show up everywhere to everything, because it's like, A, you never know who you're going to meet, or B, if you don't hit the mark on the thing you intend to, you never know who else is there that sees you try, you know, like, or whoever else you might meet that might even be more up your alley, you know?
Yeah, no, like, one of the coolest dudes that I've met so far through the whole Chicano Hollywood process has been obviously Johnny, but a guy named Jason too. He's a producer who works with Alejandro Montoya. They produce The Unexpected. Jason, anytime I have a question about anything, he's more than willing to answer.
Okay.
He's never like turned me down. He's, like, I even submitted a script to him and said, hey, what do you think of this? Can you give me some feedback? And he was honest. He was like, hey, I got a lot of scripts on the table right now. He goes, I'm going to be honest, I'll probably have it read by Christmas. I'll give you feedback, though. And I was like, dope.
Yeah.
Take your time, handles. Like,
Yeah.
And I like that, because it gives me like hope. Like, okay, so there's somebody out there that's willing to work. Because I have met people, they're like, well, like Johnny said, they'll look at the script and they'll be like, oh, it's in, you didn't indent here properly, or
Yeah.
you just spelled this word,
Yeah.
and I'm like, well, fuck, dude, I'm asking, can you look at it?
Right.
Like, awesome that I misspelled. Like, I'm sorry that I misspelled it, but can you like tell me how you think of the story?
Yeah.
I know. And that's what I like to. That's why I like Jason. But
That's the funny thing about scripts too, is like, once you start writing scripts and stuff, like, the format is so important, because if people don't see that it was written like a script, it's just like, I'm not even going to bother.
Oh, yeah. No.
If it's just manuscript or written like an essay or something, like, no.
That's why I also signed up for Chicano Hollywood's writing class. I'm in that one right now.
How is that going?
It's fun. I mean, challenging, because it's the same thing. The last session, I misunderstood how they wanted us to submit it, and it was supposed to be in script format. So I'm over here having it ready in story mode, like, okay, this is how it's going to go in story. And then Johnny's like, no, I need it in script.
Yeah, you had like a whole pitch deck.
Yeah. If they don't see the title page in the Courier new font, they're just like, no.
Yeah. So again, and it was one of those moments where he's just being tough on us to show us, like, hey, you got to make sure you submit it, make sure you guys are here. And he made it clear, like, the next session, it needs to be this many pages.
Yeah.
He's like, everybody start focusing on this. And that's one of the things I like, because again, it's teaching me to get into the habit of making sure that when I'm going to turn something in, it's already in the script format.
Yeah.
And is Francisco teaching that class?
Yeah, he's one of the teachers in the class.
I love Francisco. He's been one of my favorite, because he programmed the whole Chicano Hollywood Film Festival.
Yeah.
And he was super complimentary to Cindy's film, Extra Hearts, a film that we had there. And just like, him and I are on the same wavelength about, you got to tell a story that's entertaining. You know what I mean? Like, you got to hit. Script writing is funny because it's so highly formalized. Like, you have to fit this mold of how a script is going to be. I'm sure they're talking about this in class a lot. Like, you gotta, first page, you gotta hook somebody.
Yep.
First 10 pages, you gotta lay out everything you're gonna need to know about everything. And then you gotta have page 10, 11 is the inciting incident kind of thing. Because I've done all kinds of writing throughout my life, where it's like, I, used to do creative writing stuff. And then I worked for my family's business, doing the blog for that, and having to write kind of like almost journalistic kind of stuff. Then I went back to school for my history degree and had to learn how to write like proper research papers. Then in my master's, I was learning how to write intelligence reports for the government and stuff like that. Like, because I was in national security studies, was my master's degree. So I was like, this is how you write stuff for a senator who's got two seconds to read. Jeez. Here's what's going on in Iraq. Okay, boil it down in one paragraph. All right, whatever. Okay. And they hand it off to an aide, and then they jump into the limo, So, and then jumping to script writing, and it's like, oh, this is a whole other thing, because it's kind of less creative.
Yep.
Like, because you have to stick to these beats, and you have to make it understandable, and you have to be economical with how it flows. And
so this is where some people are going to probably hate me, because this is where I use AI for. Like, what I do is I write my initial story on a Word doc. I go through the whole idea from beginning to end.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I feel I'm done, I'll take it into like ChatGPT, and I'll tell it, hey, put this into a script format. break it down.
Yeah.
Or I'll ask it, give me 10 questions you think would help me improve this story.
Yeah.
And what are those questions? Put on the hat of a producer who's worked in the film industry for like 20 years and ask me those questions one at a time.
Yeah.
And it'll give me like, okay, well, when you write this part, what do you mean by this? How do you want the audience to walk around feeling this scene type thing? And I like that because it'll be like, okay, well, here's what I'm looking for. This is what I'm aiming for,
It's an interesting thing, AI, right? Because it's like, it's like a dirty word, especially when you're talking about like writing and scripts like that. But it's like, hey, like far be it for me to tell you how to do it, like, because it's like you got to get it done somehow, And I mean, we've worked with some people who are so anti-AI that it's like even trying to like promote stuff or put on social media stuff, they'll be like, oh, is that background image AI? You can't use it. I don't want my name associated with AI in any kind of way.
Yeah, I was like, dude, like the pasas, like come on, like I know it's one of those things. Like, yes, it shouldn't take any of the like the creative aspect of it, but sometimes like, especially like when you just need like a quick image just so people can understand, like maybe like you want a character, so maybe you can like. Instead of sketching out a character or trying to like bring references in, it's just like you tell AI what's up, and then they can like create kind of a character just so you can show something. You know what I mean?
It's another tool for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how we should see it. Like I tell people all the time, like you should see it as another tool, not that you're cheating. Because I was like, unless you're on there and you're telling ChatGPT like, hey, I want you to write a story for me, and then this is what I want to happen.
Yeah.
Do the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one thing. I'm like, but if you're doing like what we do, like, hey, I need a picture of the following. Can you add this? Can you include these colors, include this setting? Here's the aspect ratio.
Make it moody, do this. Yeah.
Like you're giving it the exact details. I don't think that's like a bad thing.
Yeah.
With script writing. Like I think it's a good way to turn in the project, like a finalized version. Yeah. It's a good way to be like, okay, hey, make sure this is formatted so someone in the professional field won't turn it down or something,
Right.
Boom.
I think too is what they say is that writing is rewriting.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? If I can at least get kind of the slate of it out there, and then I can go back over it and kind of make it what it's supposed to be, or chisel that marble out of it, and say, okay, here's what the sculpture is really supposed to be like.
And it is. I mean, even I'll give you an example. Like when coming to the Light of Shade of Brown documentary, when I first, like I said, the first version that I found was a paragraph, and it went from a paragraph to what now it's like. It was a questionnaire outline. It was like 15 pages long to a story that's about 25 pages. Yeah. And that was what it started. And it expanded to more. Yeah. So I guess maybe not the best analogy, but yeah.
Well, okay, like look, like for us when we started this nonprofit, like we needed to use AI to understand what the structure's like and how you have to operate and the things you got to know.
Yeah.
Now, it may not be a replacement for a lawyer, but it's at least a way to get started, or it's like for Cindy, like to organize thoughts, like, because for you, Cindy, you're not someone who writes a lot of stuff down, or it's like you got too much going on in your head.
Yeah, I have pretty bad ADHD. So it's like for me, I'm always like a big mess, but like it helps me so much. Like I talk to it, you know what I mean? Mine is lovingly called Chad. I was like, hey, Chad. And I was like, I need this, or like, remind me to do this, or like, in what order should I do this to make my life more efficient? You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's kind of how I use it. It's more like, hey, I have like this big old list of things to do, or like, break this down for me, or like respond to emails, all that stuff. That's like kind of.
See, for me, I used it for the doc, so I used it to help me pitch.
Yeah.
I asked it to act as a film producer. I gave it the prompt of like, act like you're one of these guys that I'm going to be, you're investing into my project. You have a history of investing in film, documentaries. I gave it like 20 plus year background, and I told it, give me 17 questions that someone in your position would ask someone like me who's trying to pitch to you my project, and and time me for each one. And it would time me. Like if I was going too long, it would stop me.
Yeah.
And yeah. So that's one of the ways I use it too. I use it to help me not create the pitch, but like pitch to it so I can feel a little more confident with what I was saying.
Well, the other thing too is like, look, at our level, it's being used, but at the high level, it's being used too. Oh, yeah. Like Hollywood's using all that stuff too. Yeah. But I mean, So when I was going through my master's, one of my professors, who I won't name, but he did work for a government, not the U.S. government, but a different intelligence agency. Saying like, no, they've been using AI to generate intelligence reports and to go through scenarios and to figure out how to work for years already.
Yeah.
Like,
the level we're seeing what they used maybe 40 years ago.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say not really 40 years ago, but like we're seeing what we're using now as AI. They've already been using it. Yeah, we're using like their early version of it.
That's there's this woman who I'm a huge fan of, an author, investigative journalist. Her name's Annie Jacobson. She writes all these books about like DARPA, if you know about DARPA. It's the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. They used to be called ARPA, and that's who invented the internet. They invented lasers. They invented drones. They invented all the stuff that we use. And so the military and high-level DARPA stuff is always 10 to 15 years ahead of what's available to the public.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's like there's all that stuff has already been out for years and years.
So a fun story that will.i.am, there's an interview with will.i.am from 10 years ago where he's predicting, like, he says, like, in 15, 20 years, we're going to be using AI as part of music. Mm-hmm. And mind you, this is 2010. So here we are 2025, and he's exactly right. Look at the arguments we're getting into with music. Yeah. But the reason I mentioned will.i.am too is because he's one of the reasons, I mean, he doesn't know this, but he's one of the reasons that the documentary was even inspired to become a documentary. Yeah. So 2010, when I'm working at 991, ODM has an opportunity to interview will.i.am on the radio. And he's interviewing him for KISS because at that time, ODM is doing KISS and 99.1. Mm. So he's doing the two. And it was crazy because he would do both shows simultaneously. He would go live on 99.1, do a quick break, and then go to KISS FM and do another quick break in another studio. And I would help run the board. I was one of the guys. There was like 3 of us, and I would get rotated in, and we would run the board and just take our, not take our time, but like run the board and just make sure the commercials were popping off on time. And this particular day, I happened to be there, and he tells me like, "Oh yeah, we're going to be interviewing will.i.am," and I'm like, "Oh, that's dope! Like, it's will.i.am, Black Eyed Peas, sick." And in the middle of the interview, will.i.am realizes that he's being interviewed by ODM. So he's like, okay, if I remember correctly, it was like he goes by a second, he's like, ODM, like, and he starts rapping on a Sunday afternoon. Yeah. Or at least like singing. Yeah. I'm like, yo, like he's singing on a Sunday afternoon. Like, this is will.i.am, Black Eyed Peas, like 2010, meet me halfway. Like, all the biggest records are blowing up right there. And I'm like, I'm looking at and O's kind of like nonchalant about it, just like, "Oh, that's cool."
Well, you have to play cool, you know what I mean? You can't be geeking.
I'm like, yo, like, this is will.i.am though, And after that moment, I was like, dude, like, yeah, like someone needs to tell the story of Lighter Shade of Brown because
will.i.am will watch it.
my goal is to hopefully get will.i.am on the documentary. Yeah, I'm hoping that I can get will.i.am on the documentary to discuss, like, to ask him about Lighter Shade of Brown's impact on him.
Yeah. Well, how many other Chicano Latino artists do you think have a connection in that kind of way, right? Like that have something to say about it?
Yeah. I mean, so many. You got MC Magic, you got Capone, Criminal. I mean, even guys like Lefty Gunplay. There was an interview so recently too that someone did where he just happened to mention Lighter Shade of Brown in there. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. So their impact goes even all the way down to today. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was going to say, can I ask you where you are right now with the film as far as like production, pre-production? Where are you?
Technically, I'm on hold until I actually sit down with Wendy and we discuss the actual project. We haven't had that conversation yet because she, if I remember correctly, she's out filming. Like where I was I had already filmed Jammin' James and Battle Cat. Jammin' James was the producer of Lighter Shade of Brown. He produced the first album. He had a hand in producing part of the second, and I believe he had a hand in producing the third as well. But I got the chance to interview him. And then Battle Cat, he also produced Poquito Soul on the first album. So I had an opportunity to interview Battle Cat, which was pretty cool because he was pretty impressed with the setup and everything. And I mean, it's not, I'm going to say it, but I'm not going to, I don't want to say it's like a guarantee, but like he was so impressed that he was just like, yo, like, I think you should talk to my wife because she wrote a story about me. And I was like a documentary story or like a film story? And he was like a documentary story.
So cool.
And I was like, yep, okay, so what, like a documentary about you? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, that'd be dope. I was like, dude, yeah, Battle Cat documentary? Like, who wouldn't want to see that? And he's like, yeah, man. But he goes, but I got this weird idea though. And I was like, well, what's your idea? I was like, when it comes to documentaries, there's nothing weird in documentaries. And he's like, well, he goes, I picture my story to be told like a cartoon. And I was like, oh, so like Pharrell's story. And he's like, what did Pharrell do? I was like, well, he did a Lego movie.
Yeah.
And he was like,
That's right.
He was like, really? And I was like, yeah, dude, he did like a whole ass Lego movie telling his life story. I was like, it was freaking dope. I loved it.
Yeah.
I was like, but you, like, if you really wanted to do like a cartoon animated story version of you, I was like, I started telling him, I was like, you could kind of break it up into 3 parts and do each generation, like as a different style of animation from that generation.
Yeah.
I was like, you could start your youth off looking like the Hanna-Barbera's cartoons and then move into like the 80s generation where they look like G.I. Joes.
Yeah.
And move into the 90s where it looks more like X-Men.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's a great
That's really
idea.
cool. Yeah.
But
So
I was going to ask you too. So right now, do you have like some type of page set up, like an Instagram, a GoFundMe, anything just to help you out?
not yet, not for this because I always have. I haven't had like a solid conversation with some of the other people of the groups or some of the other members from the group, so I haven't like fully developed all that yet. But once I get with Wendy, I think I'm just going to create it anyways. I'm supposed to go meet with ODM later on today so we can discuss some things.
Yeah.
But
Well, just make it because, I mean, you're going to do it, right? At the end of the day, like no matter what. So it's like we want to make sure that we put it down in the description below just so, people can support.
Remember what they told you in the class too, like in on like the first days. Remember, when do you have to start marketing your film?
Already now.
Yeah,
Exactly. That's why you're here, right?
Yeah, no.
Because that's let that be a lesson to all of you. Yeah.
No, and you guys are right, and I am gonna start cutting up some of the stuff that I've like already interviewed. Like, there's some parts of the interview I do want to release from Jam and James kind of post.
Yeah.
And some of Battle Cat. At the same time, like I'm excited because like ODM, I want to sit down with him again because I sat down with him and I have footage of interviewing him once, and it was bad. Like it was terrible.
Oh no.
It was like 4 of us. We didn't know what we were doing.
Oh no.
We had more lighting than we needed. We had a Rode mic with like a mic attached to it, hanging, acting like a boom mic. And we had a lab. But we were outside, so
Was it sunny?
it was sunny. But so we were under a patio. So
Okay.
so that was the issue. The issue was being outside was that the sounds of the cars.
Oh yeah.
Motorcycles.
Oh, so bad audio. Oh.
Yeah, like I'm sure in DaVinci I could hide it.
You can.
But it's still one of those things where I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. But hey, this is how you learn, right? It's just like you just gotta like even when things don't go your way or like, I think especially when you first start filmmaking, you're just like, oh yeah, like people think it's real easy. I'm working with like a client right now who wants me to edit their podcast, but it's like their first podcast. It's like they have all the lights on and then plus some other random lights and like, like their camera keeps turning off and it's just like it's people think it's really easy or like well just turn on the camera, you know what I mean, and press record. It's like there's a lot more to think about and logistics and this and that and making sure you have everything right because it's like you want to present very polished and have a good experience for people, right? So it's important.
No, it is very important.
It's true. Well, I think that's a good place to cut it off right here. That was a great conversation. Thank you for coming on, brother.
Well, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Where do we follow you? Where do we find you at?
On IG, it's I am Maso Tomaso.
All right.
Hey, yeah.
There's that right there.
I'll make sure to put that down in the description as well.
Right.
But thank you so much for talking to us. We're really looking forward to seeing, the documentary. And if you need any help, of course, please
Yeah,
let us know.
And as you make it further, come back on again.
Yeah.
I do hope that when we get a little further into it, I can come back, and I want to bring ODM or like Fabian or one of the guys from the group, so they can be a part of it too.
Well, before we go, just remember, follow the DEFF Instagram, Desert Empire Filmmaker. Subscribe. I mean, you already watched this far. Subscribe here on YouTube. Visit our website, df.foundation, and make sure to donate. That's what keeps us going. So, love you guys.
Viewers like you. Thank you.
See you later.